morning, this is David Wendell with BushcraftOnFire, and we're here with segment 2 of the Almost Naked Into the Bush. On our way up to the Cattail Pond, we've stopped because we found some milkweed, and milkweed makes an excellent cordage. So we're going to harvest some of that so that we'll have some cordage material if we want to do some different baskets or if we need cordage for something. One of the things we have to be aware of when we're out in the bush with nothing is that you have to get whatever you can use whenever you have it available. So this milkweed will help us down the road. So we're going to get it now, and we'll break it down and we'll make it into fibers for cordage so we don't have to carry the whole plant. But for now, let's get up to the Cattail Pond and see what we can find up there. What we're doing today, we've come out about 1.5 miles, 2 miles north of the house, and we are at a cattail pond. We came across a cattail pond. Now, one of the things that's really important when you are out doing this kind of a lifestyle with nothing is you've got to learn to be a gatherer wherever you go. On the way in here, I picked up a stick that looks like it could serve me when I'm ready to make a fire in a little bit. So that's going to be good. I'm not quite sure what this was. I'll try to identify it and put it on the video. I'm not exactly sure what the plant was. Around here we have a lot of horseweed that we use. This is not horseweed, but it is something else, and I just took out as I was walking one of my rocks, and I scraped down a little bit, try and get all the rough edges off of there so I could use this as a hand drill, see if we can get a fire going in a little bit. But today we want to look at these cattails that we're at, this pond. We've got red-winged blackbirds here. We've got all sorts of wildlife around us. It's just beautiful. We've got a gorgeous day, partly cloudy, about 82 degrees out this morning. So we want to look at some of the utilitarian uses here around this pond and the different things that we can find. One of the things that comes to my mind is that the natives would often, if they ever got a bad cut. Now, when we're using small tools like stone tools, these are still very sharp and you can still get cut. And if you got a bad cut, you could simply come into a pond like this where it's muck, or you could go to a riverbed and literally bury your hand in the mud. And the natives often did this, and that would stop the bleeding and promote healing in the hand. But let me show you something else with these cattails. Okay, one of the things about cattails is that they're a very utilitarian plant. There's an awful lot I can do with these. These leaves make great cordage for baskets, for cordage, all different things. You need to prepare them a little bit by letting them dry out. But one of the things I want you to notice on this cattail, I don't know if you can see it or not, but is all this slime. Let's see if I can pull some off of there. You can see this slime on the cattail. That slime is actually a good healing agent as well, and it's very, very mucilungeous, and that will allow it to cover a cut and to heal it up like a protective bandage. Now, one of the things you can do with cattails is if you get the young cattails, you can simply eat them. Cattails has a lot of food value. This head, we're actually past the point of flowering now, but this head had a male and a female head on here. You can see this is where the male was, and it had pollen on it. And you can actually take that pollen and use it for flower. This is the normal cattail head that most people are used to. And down the road, this won't do it today, but down the road, this will all turn into fluff. And that makes a real good fire starter. So we'll see if we can find some old ones here that still have that fluff available. Another thing that you can use these cattails for, if you pull these away, and you can see this is all slimy and mucky, you can get these cattails. I hear frogs jumping over there in the pond. And you can break off the tip and use these as a makeshift arrow. Now these are a little bit weak until they're dried, so you really want to dry these out. It takes about a week to dry them out. So the cattail has a lot of uses. You can also dig up the cattail and use the rhizome, which is under the dirt. See if I can pull one out here by the root. This is a little bit thick muck here. Let's see if I can pull one out a little bit. Well, I didn't get the rhizome, but you can see where it broke off. And this part here underground is filled with all sorts of starches, again, that you can eat. A very, very good thing. While I was going around gathering some of the cattails, I managed to pull out one of these rhizomes to show you. Now you can see the segments in the rhizome. That'll tell you this is the rhizome part. And what this actually does, this grows down in the mud, and then all the different cattail plants grow up off of this, as you can see where they were growing, and then the roots go down. This rhizome is the part that's filled with all sorts of starches. You can literally take this, you cut it into pieces. I generally just cut it on the segments there, and you put it in some boiling water. You clean it up first, of course. Get all that mud and muck off, unless you want extra mud in your diet. And just take these and boil them for a while. And when you pour off the water after it settles, this starch that's in here will be settled down on the base. So it's a good source of food, the rhizomes are. You can make flour, you can make bread. Now you can see that this cattail is very, very young. What I'm just going to do is pull this up, separate this out a little bit, and pull this right up. And you see this fine white point on here. Well, there's a neat thing about cattail. That point is protected because it was inside a leaf wrap. So there's nothing that's parasitic or anything on it. And I can just eat this just like celery, and that's good. Breakfast. Well, I've got breakfast, lunch, and dinner here right now. We're not worried about food. Now, a couple things that this is utilitarian use for. If you're going to use these leaves, you really want to get them where they're older, dead leaves, and then we'll rehydrate them in water. We're going to be down by a stream, and we can rehydrate these and use them for some projects or some cordage. I also found in my gathering a little bit of last year's fluff. Not very much left on here, but there's enough that we can use, so I'm going to real carefully put that into my pocket, make sure we don't lose that, so that we can use that on another segment, probably when we're trying to make fire. But that fluff is good for insulation, it's good for fire, it's good for a plethora of things. So you want to make sure, again, wherever you are, that you gather materials if you're walking out with nothing in your hands, because those materials, you can't just walk down to the store when you're in the bush. What you need to do is get what you need, and you need to foresee what you're going to need in the future. I know that I'm going to be making a basket of some kind in the near future. So I'm going to get enough of these cattails to make myself a decent basket that's going to last me for a little while. So I'm going to go back to gathering, and we'll be back.